This is a bittersweet story of my childhood. Because let's be frank, if I had a happy childhood, would I be up here dressed like this? You're gonna cringe, and you might laugh, and it's okay because there is a happy ending. If you think me being up here pretending to strip is a happy ending, yay. If you consider it tragic, well, you can ask for your money back. My mother did not get the daughter she wanted. My mother wanted a curly-haired little child who was obedient and by God would play with her toys the way Hasbro, Mattel, and Fisher-Price intended. If my mother gave me jacks and a ball, she expected me to play jacks. If mother gave me a turntable with a stack of children's music, she expected me to play Three Blind Mice until my ears bled. But when I saw a turntable and jacks, I saw endless possibilities that had nothing to do with either thing. So when Mom came past my bedroom door and I had that turntable cranked up to 78 and I was dropping those jacks down on it and they were going off like shrapnel in the room, I thought, yeah, this is awesome. And Mom just looked stricken. Mom wanted normal. She got me. But I was getting used to the stricken look because when I turned 3 and it was Christmas time, Mom opened an album. I did not have the words for album. I just knew it was a no, no, not a baby toy. And a no, no, not a baby toy was the most excellent thing in the house because I was not allowed to touch it. My mother grew up around World War II. She loved Frank Sinatra. The Beatles, not so much. But she couldn't get rid of this album because my dad would notice. So she gave the no, no, not a baby toy to me. And no doubt she hoped I would break it. But all I thought as she was handing the precious holy grail of no, no, not a baby toy was, Mother, I will not fail you. And I ran to my room and I got that turntable going and I did it almost perfect, but my 3-year-old fingers weren't quite coordinated and I dropped the needle. And that is the only gouge on that album that I have till today. And when I heard the Beatles start singing, I Want to Hold Your Hand, I felt a connection with humanity that I have never felt before. I heard that music and I was filled with joy. And I did what any 3-year-old who has no freaking idea what dance is. I started to hop up and down and flap my arms. And I was so proud because I had not broken the no, no, not a baby toy. And I was playing the most exquisite music for my mother. And she would be so proud. So when I looked over my shoulder at my mother, she was looking stricken. To this day, I know every word and every lyric on all the songs of that album, but my mother still hates it. A couple years later, the nice thing, one of the wonderful things about growing up in the 60s was we didn't have educational television. We watched whatever our folks watched. I watched a lot of I Dream of Jeannie and I Love Lucy, and at night we watched Laugh-In, which for you younger people is sort of like Saturday Night Live, but not quite as good. And one of the performers was a 19-year-old Goldie Hawn with the perfect body, and she was a dancer. And I watched her in her green bikini dancing. She had moves to the music that I loved. And I said to my mother, "What is that?" And she said, "It's go-go dancing." I had go-go boots. I had a bathing suit. I ran to my room and I pulled on my go-go boots and then I tried to put on my bathing suit, which in hindsight is not the right order, in case you need to know, that you really need to put on the bathing suit first and the go-go boots second, but I was 5. How was I supposed to know this? And I jumped on my bed so I could see in the vanity mirror, and I was dancing, and I was practicing my moves, and I knew my mother would be so proud, and she looked at me, and she was stricken. And she said, "We'll get you a kitchen set." As far as I knew, we had a real kitchen. And if I actually became hungry, I could go to the real kitchen and get real food. So why the hell would I want a fake kitchen in my room with fake food that I got to prepare? And having watched my mother cook many dinners, it didn't look like fun. So I took the refrigerator and I turned it on its side and I opened the lid and I climbed in and I became an astronaut with a colander on my head. And my mother was stricken. She told me I was going to hurt the refrigerator and that I should play house the way she intended me to play house. But the only kind of house that I could play was the one that I had seen across the street. A very elegant couple had a tradition on Friday nights at 5 o'clock. Mrs. Israelson would come out carrying a tray, and on that tray was a pitcher of martinis. And she had olives and those little pearl onions, and they smoked cigarettes. So I rounded up my sister and we sat at the table and I mixed up some martinis. And I found the candy cigarettes that my grandmother had slipped me, because grandmothers are most excellent for getting you contraband. So when Mother came by next, there I was, sipping a martini and smoking a cigarette. And I said to Mom, "Martini, darling?" Mother was stricken. But she fixed me with the most diabolical, mean-spirited, horrible thing you could ever do to a child who loved to dance. She sent me to ballet school, which had nothing to do with dancing the way I wanted to do it. There was a metal pole called a bar. And this Russian woman who spent 6 months trying to tell me to keep my popo tucked under. This hasn't tucked under since I was 10 years old. It ain't never gonna. It was a lost cause, but I put up with it because I knew if I stuck it out, at the end there'd be a recital. And I would get a costume, a tutu that my mother would have to buy for me. And I didn't give a crap about getting up and doing this ballet performance, but I would have a costume to collect and add to my costumes. And as we speak, I hate to admit it, but I have 10 tutus in my closet. So my sister, the Claw, because this is how she performed ballet class, this is not correct, by the way. When they got to picking her costume, she got a lovely, delicate lilac tutu. And I remember thinking, damn it, why can't you be bigger? I would look so much better in that than you. But I thought to myself, oh good, if even the Claw gets a lilac tutu, what am I going to get? Yes, oh teacher, do tell me. I will tuck my popo under to here. I think I would look magnificent in black. I think I would look lovely in white. I don't care, just give me a damn tutu. I knew I was in trouble when the first question she asked us was, do you have overalls? Well, of course we had overalls. It was 1972. We wore overalls without irony. The next question was, do you have a straw hat? A straw hat? Overalls? You are going to be the crow that scares the things. What? I put up with this for a year to stand on a stage and say, "Ee-haw!" and act like a scarecrow? I was stricken. My mother said, "What? You'll be cute. We'll even blacken one of your teeth." I got the last laugh. 30 years later. Sometimes revenge takes a long time. 30 years later, I had a magnificent dance teacher the magnificent one and only Billy Mullen, drag queen extraordinaire. He knew everything about dance. He knew everything about costumes. And he even, in between telling us dirty jokes, told us that he knew burlesque. I said, Billy, you have no idea. All my life, I've just wanted to be on a stage and dance the way I wanted to dance. Would you please do a little choreography of burlesque where I can be in front of an audience and no one will be stricken? Please, dear God. And he did. And he did some choreography to Barry White. And I got to go on a stage and do this. And then I got to do this. And this. And this. And no one was stricken.